Welcome to Om Shanti Healing's podcast, The Spiritual Connection. In this podcast, we're going to talk about your energy, their energy, vibration, the chakra system, self-care for the body, talk to multiple healers and people that have been through trauma, and talk about their journey out of hard times, how they did it, and how they're now sharing it with others. I'm so happy to have you on. Let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome back to Om Shanti Healing's podcast, The Spiritual Connection. It has been a beat since I have been motivated to get on my podcast, so I apologize for that. I've got some busy stuff going on in my life, so podcasts come when there is time allotted, and Tamra and I got together today to talk about some pretty cool stuff planetary-wise, what is out there in the cosmos. Hi Tamra, thanks for coming back on.
Hello, my dear. Thank you.
You look lovely today.
So do you. I'm like, the hair always looks so good. Your hair.
I feel that same way about you. It's also fluffy and wispy.
I know, I'm like, and then all my grays growing in there. There's all those. Did I tell you? Have I ever told you?
See them.
But have I ever told you I was born with a white spot? Like I have a white spot here.
Were you your unicorn used to be there? That's where the horn was.
That's where my horn was.
In a past life, you were a unicorn.
Maybe. And then over time, that white spot has gotten bigger, much bigger. But that for the longest time, I could have a Cruella de Vil stripe.
That's hot.
I could have rocked it, but I'm not ready to embrace it yet.
Yeah. I chopped off 10 inches of my hair.
I know, that's why I look so good.
And now it's like healthy and kind of wavy a little bit because it's shorter, but I don't think I'm gonna color it ever again. I'm just gonna be plucking my white eyebrow hairs out, embracing each little hair that comes in. My son just bought a sports car, so I'll be getting more gray hairs here shortly.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh. Yes. I've had gray hair since I started going gray when I was 21. My dad was completely white by the time he was 24. So 21 was my first gray hair. So since then, I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. I have gray hair everywhere. Chin hairs, those are new.
Oh, gotta love those.
I have one right here.
Oh, yeah. And the ones that they're there, all of a sudden, they're an inch long. And it's like, what the hell? I just looked in the mirror 5 minutes ago and there was nothing.
It's so true. And mine are coarse and white. So I'm like, I even have gray hairs on my chin and my neck. And yeah, overnight they're like, ta-da.
You're getting old. Here's a couple eyebrow hairs for you to pluck too.
Oh, I did. I have one of those.
I got some white ones.
And then, downstairs there too. I'm like, you know what? You just got to embrace it at this point. There's no
fighting it. I mean, we can dye our eyebrows, I guess, and
we could dye all of it. Just
I don't like to dye my hair anymore. I'm kind of over it. It was a phase. It's not. It fries your hair out, especially in Colorado air. It is so freaking dry here.
Yeah,
it's like you color your hair, it sucks more of the moisture out of your hair, and then it's just like a straw mess on your head. It's not good. Data cling for days. Anyways,
mine's just a gloss. So
that was a tangent. That's what these podcasts are great for. When you come on with me, we just go off on this direction and this direction, and makes for good entertainment, hopefully, for the listeners.
Hopefully, exactly.
This is real life stuff, people.
Exactly. For those of us with ADHD.
Chin hair.
Exactly.
God damn it.
Chin hair. Yeah, exactly.
Each chin hair gives us wisdom.
I remember my mom,
story to tell,
and they would be so long and curly on my mom. And I remember going up and pulling it just lightly, and she'd be like, yeah, get that. Can you get that, please? And you'd be like, pink, I swear I have more than she does. I have more than one on my chin. So yay.
Yeah, Ray. Yeah, good times. Good times. So what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about kind of this being a support group of sorts. And I first wanted to ask you, how is the new massage going? The new massage business going?
Well, massage has been around for 20 years in my life and healing work and such, but the new modalities that I'm offering are hot stone massage, and that is for light effleurage, gentle pressure with the heat penetrating stones in my hand. So that's really great for really just gentle work, just to kind of reset and disconnect. And then ashiatsu is the very opposite of that, but there is still connection with all touch, right? But in ashiatsu, it's barefoot massage. I'm using my feet and my legs. So I have a contraption on my ceiling.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
For my poles, for my
That's
hands.
awesome.
And I climb up on the table and I walk on people. And it's amazing, especially for my men that have tree trunk legs. I just really don't want to get my elbows into that anymore. And I walk on them and they're like grunting it out. It's awesome.
Yeah, good for
And
you.
then
That's
getting through
awesome.
some stuck layers that have been in their bodies for, decades
Are you
potentially.
making them cry? Are you getting to
With
some layers of
joy, tears
cry
of
with joy?
joy,
Good, good, yeah.
tears of
But also
joy.
like some good releases in there too.
Yeah, like we're moving toxins, we're flushing lymph, we're getting all the good things moving, and
Mm.
they're having space in their bodies that they have not remembered having.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. And my ladies are loving it too. It's a fairly new thing, but getting the hang of it, getting tonicity and strength in my legs, like it's an acclimation to the legs for sure of doing lower body work. But my upper body is getting a nice break. All I'm missing
Even
is
from
my
holding from the
martini in
ceiling,
my
even that.
hand when I'm up there. And
That's
I'm good
awesome. I
to
would think that you
go.
could get an upper body workout too, holding on and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have to engage the chest and the shoulders and stuff to help. I get leverage from pushing on the poles to get
Mm,
deeper work in, but it's mostly lower body. It's
got
fun.
it. Cool.
Thank you for
Very cool.
asking. How are things going with you?
Things are lovely and busy. I seem to come and flow, whether it's like leaning towards animals or leaning towards humans, and I've had a lot of lean towards humans, again with the traumatic brain injuries and stuff. And I think I find myself wanting to be like either on a podcast more or on stage and really helping people start to understand what they're experiencing is literally can be contributed to a brain trauma. Like there's so many, at least for me, I can speak so much of my life going, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why does this work? Why am I having these looping thoughts of shame? The biggest thing for me that I've noticed since I've worked on myself, I work on myself regularly as well, is that I will have like, I would be in a moment of like, oh my gosh, like that was such an incredible moment and just that heart center connection. And then all of a sudden my brain will go, yeah, but do you remember this? Do you remember this when you did this? Do you remember this? Or when you didn't do a very good job being a mom or whatever it is? It's always as those little shame, little nudges of shame. So I'd be in this moment of flow and be feeling heart centered, feeling loved, connected, whatever it is. Or I'd have somebody give me the best hug or give me, or even my clients giving me compliments. I would be like, oh, thank you, thank you. And then my brain would remind me of all the times that I made mistakes or whatever it is. And this was the worst, usually at night. I don't have that anymore. It's just amazing that I don't have.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, it's just great. And then the looping thoughts, like for me, my brain injury, one of my brain injury traumas was my left frontal lobe here, and that was looping thoughts. So I'd get stuck on a song, like three lyrics of a song, singing those lyrics, or I would get looping on a thought, and that sort of thing. Those are quieter. My clients are sleeping better. Depression's been amazing, the shift in depression, depressive thoughts. Sleep is a component for everything. I think the number one thing my clients notice right away is better sleep. And then it also regulates hormones because I'm working on gut health and all this stuff. Like I work on a hormone playlist for myself. It's been great. I have my energy system, my energy's back up. Just, yeah, it's been life altering. So I keep on taking note of the clients and what they give me and their feedback, and then writing these lists of this is what they noticed. Are you experiencing this? They've noticed this has changed. They've noticed this has changed. They've noticed this. Literally just by my working frequency on their brain and their gut health.
Well, that's awesome that you're taking notes and you're getting good feedback from your clients.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
it's
whole client thing is all referrals. Like,
do you see patterns of protocols that are similar with brain injury clients? Like they all need specific things no matter what.
um, well, each playlist is what I do. Oh my gosh, what I do find. Okay. So what I do is I customize each playlist to that specific client for one. So I'm not really in the mindset because I'm tuning into their guides and their energy and what's highest and best for them. And I'm creating it. So I'm not necessarily making parallels that way. But I do find the amazing thing is that once you start clearing out something and something starts rocking and rolling on its own, like a deeper level comes up, which is like conductivity. That's been awesome. Like, oh my gosh, now we're here. Now we're, at this frequency. Now this is a deeper frequency. Now we're even getting strong, farther into the core of this and what the emotion is that's releasing and stuff. What I do find, which has been fascinating, is the parallels between the human and their animals. I work with a lot of humans who hired me initially to work on their animals, and then I end up working on them. And so, like, I have a specific client that she's the best. I'm helping her. She basically runs a rescue, and she's just keeps on rescuing dog after dog and horse and all the stuff now where she wants goats, and she rescues them and they're sick as can be. She sends me a photo. I'm like, yep, sick as can be. And then we start working. I can start killing off bacteria, all this kind of stuff. That's where we start many times. But I will notice the interesting thing is I've been working on her dogs. Her dogs have ADHD. She has ADHD. Then I'm recognizing that, oh, interesting. Like, then I have a client who her horses tend to get respiratory infections. She tends to have respiratory infections. Like just the parallels. And I swear, I always say it's our animals showing us where we need to work on ourselves. Because first and foremost, as is all things, when we fill our own vessel and we get our own health up and rocking and rolling, it's amazing how it shifts the energy around us, whether it's our kids or our animals. And I mean, there it's just been nothing short of fascinating with the like I said, with the just all of a sudden you're like, okay, there's a respiratory thing. What's coming with that? What are lungs? Lungs, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are grief. What's the grief coming up? Let's clear that. What's the underlying, infections and all the stuff. And then sure enough, the animals start to shift and they're doing better. And I just find it fascinating. A horse with massive boogers coming out of his nose and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, why do we work on you first? Because, this is showing up in you first and stuff. So yeah, it's been cool.
Right. Because the animals know that they are in dire straits and that there's someone there that's saving them, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
They understand that and they have animals have a level of empathy,
Very much so. Yeah.
differently than humans do,
Yeah. Well,
right?
they're also very
They
tuned
just
in.
feel it. They don't try to
Yeah.
change it or shift it or manipulate it
Yeah.
or navigate it in any way. They just feel the feels that their humans are putting off
Mm,
and they respond to it.
yeah. And there's also on a deeper level than that, what I've noticed over the years in talking with animals is that they are here to show us where we get to do the work in our life, where sometimes the heaviest lifting is. What are my animals? Why do I keep on getting rescued French bulldogs? Because they are some of the most stubborn little assholes on the
Ah,
planet.
you are collecting like one of every color.
I know I do. I'm on number what, 6 now and stuff like that. They've all lived very happy lives. But it's once again, it's been I get to go into my power. I get to go into my patience. Oh, look, there's a deeper level of patience I get to have. Because you call a bulldog and you say, come, and then they look at you and they're like, thinking about it. And then they're kind of like, let me look around, see if there's anything better, and you're like,
That's only one option.
exactly, exactly. Let me check my other options.
Option is the key word there.
Exactly. And all my animals have digestion issues. Well, hello, digestion issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them end up having tummy stuff, sensitivities. So I'm like, okay, we're working on me and I'm working on my stomach. I'm working on my underlying stuff.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how it does. It starts to shift everybody. Everybody's happier and healthier. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I know when you worked on, I had some right side sciatic stuff
Hmm.
that was coming up out of my masculine, fight or flight stuff that, self-employed people get stuck in.
Yeah.
And my dog's hip was flaring up and she was
Hmm.
bothered. Like she was in some pain in her back end, my 6-year-old, and you worked on her and
Hmm.
cleared it all up. And I felt you worked on me first.
Hmm.
And I started to feel a shift, and then you worked on her to just kind of like top it off, and
Right.
that was really helpful. Yeah.
Well, and it's just a perfect example of we love our animals, right? So if we love our animals and we're all of a sudden concerned about what's going on with them, and then you come to me, I'm going to put it like I see it. Well, okay, so how's this showing up for you? Because this keeps on being a reoccurring or whatever it may be and stuff like that. Or the moment I tune into the animal, they're like, tell her I'm showing her what's going on with her. I'm more, and I've had animals who have come who literally I do a session because the humans all concerned about their pet. And then I tune in with the animal, and the animal's just like, "Oh, good, I have your attention. Now tell her this. This is all the things I have to say to share." And the whole session becomes about the human versus the animal because it's not about the animal. The animal's like, I'm just giving her a reflection of where she needs to, take better care of herself, or he does.
Yeah. I see that a lot in my in Fawn and my older female. She's definitely feeds off of my stress level with her
Mhm.
behavior. Like she'll get more aggressive at the fence with the neighbor dog.
Mhm.
If I'm sitting here stewing in my day, over something,
Mhm.
she's a little bit more twitchy.
Mhm.
She just is. And if I'm having a day of seeing clients and I'm working and happy and in a good space, she's like taking lots of naps, chilling on the couch.
Yeah, so true.
It's
True.
they feed off of each other. I'm hosting a workshop on May 2nd. I don't know if you saw that at the Canine Learning Center. I'm
So cool.
teaching energy work to the humans and
So cool.
how to do it on their dogs. Because
That's
those
awesome.
people there are their dogs are competitors, like they're show dogs. They
Oh,
train,
wow.
they're competing for,
Mhm.
a ribbon or a trophy, and it's like a big ordeal. They're performing animals. So
Mhm.
to have that tool to
Yeah.
help them maintain a good gait, right?
Mm.
Because that'll ding
Yeah.
you on points.
Yeah.
Have a
Awesome.
calm demeanor and be able to listen to their humans during competition and
Mhm.
agility training type stuff, being able to stay present
Yeah.
and
Well, and
have the humans be in a better vibrational space
yeah,
during those
that's
competitive moments
exactly.
because the humans are way more like zinging and like anxiety than the dog is,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
So I'm hoping that we'll have a good turnout and we'll be able to teach some things to the people
Hmm.
and help them help themselves, which
Yeah.
will then help their dogs in
Well, and maybe
competition.
that if I can give a suggestion, because that's where I end up kind of going with clients, is there's always a focus on self-care. Always. The animals always defer to them. Like, what kind of self-care are they doing? They're very stressed. They're not,
Yeah.
working, da 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 da. I need to get her to take me on more walks because she needs to get up and move more or whatever it may be. And like you said, the great thing is there's that empowerment of, oh my gosh, I can do Reiki. Like you step into this amazing inner power and this connection to the sacral chakra where this your energy center, your power center, and all of a sudden you're like, I can do that with my hands. Oh my gosh, then I could work on myself. Or I always call it, as you know, pulling up your Wonder Woman underoos. Like all of a sudden, same thing with your dog running the fence, stepping into that power and getting out there and being like, knock it off. You're in that Wonder Woman energy. So I'm always just like, the underlying cause in all things in my experience with animals is how do you come into your calm, assertive Wonder Woman energy to to be able to recognize what the animal's showing you, recognize why they're acting this way. What is this reflecting for me? Where's this in areas where I can work on or whatever it is? It's just a
Yeah.
really good help and
Helps to
self-awareness
regulate
there.
the environment around you,
Yeah.
right? When you know
Yeah.
when you are checked into your vibe and what
Yeah.
you're projecting.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
animals are just like a mirror, right?
Oh,
They're
very much so.
sponges and they're mirrors of what
Children and
we are putting
animals.
out. And it's important to know that. So I'm hoping this workshop will bring awareness to people
Mm-hmm.
and,
Very cool.
gently make them more self-aware of what they're putting out, right?
Yeah. Love it.
Which is
Yeah.
a touchy subject because, everyone gets offended by everything.
Well,
So we'll see how it goes.
who cares?
I'm Who cares? I'd
Who
be like,
cares?
you need to check
The truth,
yourself with
and
your
then
with your
the
negative
beauty of
vibes.
and then the
Yeah,
beauty of it also is that someone can maybe be initially offended or whatever it may be, your nose a little bent out of shape, but then they can be driving home afterwards and be like, okay, now that my ego has settled down a little bit, okay, let me pull out some really good truth bits out of that as well.
that's
And
the
that's,
hope.
I have to say, that is the beauty of what I get to do, even talking with the animals, because all I am is I'm just the messenger. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly what they said. I'm going to tell if it, and I will tell clients all the time, if I start to censor myself, if I start to put it in my own wording or anything like that, the information stops because it's coming through me, not to me. So I'm just like, this is what your animal wants to share with you. This is their concerns for you. They're really worried about this area of your life. Or, as I've said before, my favorite part is I call it the ratting out or the tattletaling part of the session with the animal, is they will be like, okay, I did that because I didn't like her boyfriend. She's not making good choices in men, things like that. Like, they are wise, they are truly connected.
Yeah, when I started dating John, I'm like, well, if my dogs like him,
Yeah, very
that's a
much
good
so.
sign.
Right.
That's checking a box in my
Hmm.
list, of
Yeah,
what I
very much
require,
so.
right?
Hmm.
If my dogs, like him and roll over and give their belly, then he's in.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with kids. Little kids, they are just the same thing. They're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, at this point when they're just little, little ones, just like the animals. There's no
Yep.
censorship. There's just either they
Yep.
vibe with your energy or they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my kids were little, they would see spirit.
So cool.
They don't talk about it much anymore because they're adulting now.
Hmm.
But they would see they would see spirits in my mom's bathroom. They in the old house we lived in, they would see a cat, like an orange cat down in the bathroom.
Cute.
And occasionally my daughter still mentions that she sees stuff kind of walking around in this house.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
not, she hasn't brought it up in a while, but the last time she did, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's not a negative thing. They're just
Mhm.
present. They were
Yeah.
here before the neighborhood was here, right? It's an old energy and doing any,
Well, some
they're
of
not
that,
harming anything. They're just
yeah.
floating around in this space.
But some of
It's
it also
okay.
comes through us because when you're a portal, when you're sleeping, which can lead to my little tidbit here, my little tip is we are little portals. I used to astral travel like nobody's business at night. And I'd wake up more exhausted. I'd worked all night and I'd wake up more exhausted than I did before I went to sleep and stuff like that. And I recognized I was also being somewhat of a portal or, bringing spirits in. There was a lot more activity and stuff. So I had to, one, set my intention that I don't want to astral travel. And then two, kind of same thing, blessing my space. I'm a big believer in, and I just shared this with a client of mine the other day, that putting a bowl of water under your bed with lemongrass drops. I learned this from an amazing healer I know who's been healing people with her eyes since she was 4, and she's a believer in cutting lemons and putting them in rooms to help clear the energy of rooms. I'm a believer in cutting lemons, putting them in rooms, but then also open your closets. The corners are where the energy is, cleaning out your corners of your house, opening closets, and you can sage it, you can drum it, you can whatever it may be. I regularly put a big old bowl of water underneath my bed with lemongrass essential oil drops under my bed, and I'll leave it under there for maybe 2, maybe 3 nights, and I change it out regularly, and it clears my mattress. It does wonders for my sleep, and it does wonders for the fact that when you're asleep, what's coming through you, what you're processing off you energetically gets stored in your mattress. So I do it all the time. Cutting
Oh,
lemons in rooms, all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
I'll be
Saging,
doing that
smudging.
tonight.
I know, like, and I would put, because you have a twofer bed. I sleep, like I sleep like a starfish in the middle of my bed. You put 2 bowls of water for John's side and your side and stuff like that underneath the mattress and stuff. That does, like I said, it really does help. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth the go for sure. See
Yeah.
how we feel in the morning.
And then the other thing that I have, so these are the things that I wanted to, have this podcast be about. There's a couple of things that I've learned that I thought it would be supportive of people listening. And then also just to talk a minute about what's happening on the planet with the planetary alignment. I don't know this stuff, and I've said it before. I've taken astrology classes, third house, second house, 56th house in this area. I swear I walk out dumber. I've taken 2 classes. I think I walked out just none of it stuck. So I defer to people who this is just an amazing gift that they have. And they say the planetary alignments right now, and like I said, this is scientific, the planetary alignments right now are unprecedented. We've never seen this alignment, and we won't see it again in this lifetime. So, what this is doing on a cellular level to our body is bringing up stuff, and the deep rooted stuff. And it's not just stuff from our childhood, it can be stuff from lifetimes. I've cleared more times than I count the rage in my lineage, the rage in my DNA. When I started I would look at this line of women because I had a lot of farmers, which is surprising because which is interesting because I want to change. I'm the way changer in this lifetime, and I want a farm, as you know, and I want to create a sanctuary, but I also want it to be where it changes the farmers in my past. That was all trauma, abuse, animals were eaten, da da da. I'm like, mine is going to be wildflowers, the animals aren't eaten, that sort of thing. Like, so I really one day plan to find my farm. But my lineage, when I would look at it, was just these pinched, angry women, mostly women, because here they had married these men either because they felt like they had no other options, or B, married them because they thought they loved them, and then they find out these guys were just awful, abused, physically abused, baby after baby after baby. Because that's my mother was a perfect example. At 5 years old, she was no longer a child. She was out in the fields at 5 years old. She was allowed to play and be a kid. And then 5 years old, you're out in the fields and working, picking vegetables and all the stuff. That was, like I said, that was your labor as a farmer and stuff, your child labor. And I remember looking at photos, and my brother sent me this zip drive of the black and white photos of all these ancestors I'd never seen on my father's side, on my mother's side. And it's just I laugh because it's so sad and depressing. Like you see the man, he's all pinched, all this kind of stuff, and he's all, and then there's 6 kids, and then the woman at the end is same thing. Everyone's all dressed and everyone's like bleary eyed because that they, must have taken it on.
Exhausted and sad.
Exhausted, exactly. But you get down to the wife and she looks twice his age, and she's just had 6 to 10 babies, that kind of thing. And she's vacant. It's just so sad. Like there's like no life in her eyes. And that's what I saw in ancestor after ancestor after ancestor. So I've been doing the heavy lift of clearing that. And in clearing that has been rage. And rage has not just been my lineage and my ancestral roots. Rage has been the collective rage. and especially the rage of women. And the rage has been because of repression, oppression, you know, everything we've been through since the history
The
of the,
patriarchy is real
yes,
still.
all of that since
Yes.
the beginning of
Like
time.
the lack of options, lack
Mm,
of control, lack of freedom.
yeah, yeah. Just,
Everything was controlled by men, you
and
know.
being chattel
We
and
were
being,
vessels for birthing, you know,
right, right. No love,
or
nothing
just
for,
sex, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So for
That.
me, I saw a snippet of a video, and the woman was a rage counselor. And she was saying the importance of women not just being like, so the cool thing was, I always stumble upon things that just are amazing messages. She says that we hold rage down the right side of the outside of our ribs and the left side of the outside of our ribs. That's where we hold our rage, and the rage, the planetary rage, the lineage, and everything. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. And so she was saying that the importance is when you're hitting something, like if you're getting your anger out and you're hitting something, like they'll do that in therapies. I've done that before as a therapist with my clients and stuff like that. But she says the importance is you need to be over your head and bring it down, like you're chopping wood with an axe, just wah! And I have what's called a damn it doll. And the damn it doll, you can get it on Amazon. They're amazing. Damn it doll from my therapizing practice. And I have been beaten the shit out of my bed at night. I've been doing a silent rage because I don't need to, traumatize my animals. And then during the day, when I'm like, okay, everybody outside, just go enjoy the sunshine for a while, and I'll close the door. I will be inside, just literally raging, hitting the couch, the chairs. I sobbed. I released so much rage. It was amazing. I've done it now probably like 3 times. And for the first time, I don't feel like need to do it. Like I'm like, okay, well, down the road, whatever. And for the first time, I don't feel like angry. I'm not fiery like I used to be. Like I'm just so much more calm and
Yeah.
patient, and oh my gosh, it's just been life altering. So I'm like here to encourage the women of the planet to beat the bejesus out of preferably an inanimate object, not your spouse or your children, not your children,
Or your critters.
your
Right.
animals, right? Just go
Yeah.
beat a
Any
cat,
sort
right?
of any sort of animal or like stuffed animal that you have around the house or a
Yeah,
pillow, like something
yep,
that you can
yep,
slam into something else without causing
right.
harm.
Right. There's the foam bats. You can buy those wiffle
Oh
ball foam.
yeah,
Those
swim
things are
noodles.
noodles not as gratifying, I'd imagine, because you need something with
Too long.
heft. You really I'm like, if I had some wood to chop, I have an axe, but if I had some wood to chop, I would find that very therapeutic to be like, you know, I'm not exaggerating. It's just that was such a great tidbit of information I stumbled across, and ready to release that. And then I think I've told you that for years I've burped. Like when I get energy and I'm
Yep.
releasing energy, I've burped. And it was getting to the point where I'd have nights where I couldn't sleep because I was just burping, and full moons and burping. It was so frustrating. And since I've done that, since I've raged, and that, because liver's all anger, since I've released that, I barely burp anymore. Awesome. So I'm like,
I hope it
have I
sticks.
I know. Well, it will, because all I have to do when it starts kind of like, oh, I'm starting to burp more. I'm like, okay, I think I need to go beat something. You know, it's time to beat the bed or the
It's so
couch.
true. It's liberating too, because
Yeah,
as women, we're kind of like stereotypically told and brainwashed that we need to like keep our composure,
yeah,
take care of everybody else, put what we need last. We need to maintain the foundation of the household and the family and blah, 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 and the child rearing and all the things.
well, and it's
And
the
it's
what a
tiring,
boy. Yeah, it is, and what
but
a
we
boy.
don't put us on the list of what we need to take care of, like the deep stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the beauty of, you give yourself space, even if that's what you have time to do, and you're just out in the backyard beating the bejesus out of something out in the backyard, everybody's inside. It's also for me, it was the wording of I'm too much or I'm not enough. I feel like most of everything women believe about themselves and the shame is a lot of it boils down to I'm either too much or I'm not enough or doing enough or being enough or the persona or what is my mask? All of that. Ugh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely can relate to all of that. It's very hard to find a place where we really feel like we belong
Yeah.
inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like a feeling of living in this body, but it doesn't feel like I belong here, and I don't even know who this body is
Mm,
and what it needs
yeah.
to really feel
Yeah.
safe and okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the stuffing of rage and my body work and the healing work that I do, it lands in your back. It
Mm-hmm.
lands in your pelvis and it lands down your legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all like the lower three chakras, the
Mm-hmm.
solar, the sacral, and the root,
Mm-hmm.
affect women deeply because we're stuffers.
Mm-hmm.
We stuff what we want, we stuff what we need. We
Mm-hmm.
stuff anger, we stuff discontent, we stuff feeling worthy, and like we stuff what we get from how other people make us feel. We stuff it all and it lands in our pelvis
Mm-hmm.
and it sits in there and it radiates pain into our backs and down our legs. And I feel that in a lot of women that I work with. Some are just so insecure in who they are. Like their shell looks beautiful, right? But
Mm-hmm.
inside, there's loathing. There's just like I hate who I am and me and
Yeah.
what I'm like. I don't feel like I'm doing enough and being enough and making enough. And
Yeah.
it's deep inside all of us women to some degree, right? It's just a matter of how much do you fester in it on a day to
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I was
And
there.
I think if we were allowed to rage in a healthy way, I think our bodies would feel a heck of a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Because the body does keep the score.
Yeah.
Our bodies would feel more free. Our energy would be more balanced.
Yeah.
We would probably get our needs met more often
Yeah.
if
Because
we
the
were
rage
allowed to
also
just
leads to,
release
yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
always being composed and
Right.
beautiful and like we got it all together. None of us have it together. None of
Mm-hmm.
us.
I know. That's the
We're
beauty.
all
I
just
think
like, fuck, am I doing any of this right?
so true. So true.
Like, am
And I
I?
think that's where the beauty of it is being my favorite saying now is I am perfectly imperfect. Or oh, look, I'm being human. Oh, wow, I'm having a human moment and that sort of thing. And it not being I'm too much or not enough and stuff. And for me, I spent a lot of time where I think this is what happens for a lot of people is I spent a lot of time disassociating from my body
Yeah.
because I didn't feel safe. There's the big word for me. That gives me goosebumps. It's so powerful for
Yeah.
me. Feeling
Yeah.
safe in my
Wow.
body was, and I
Yeah.
just and I look back and going, where was I during that? Like even I look back now in some of my marriage and I was like, where was I? I was so disassociating.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
remember my moments raising Brody, raising my son, but there were so many times where I was like, holy cow, like, I don't, that's a span of time. I either
I'm
don't
just
remember.
numb.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Or I was like, why would I say that? Why would I say that's okay? Why did I agree to that? Why did I, all of that stuff? Yeah. Because I completely disassociated. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that in my marriage too.
Mhm.
I had to fake for a long time while my kids were little,
Mhm.
and just pretend, put on the mask of we're good, things are great, I feel
Mhm.
fulfilled in every way.
Yeah.
Lies, lies, lies. We stuff the lies, we tell the lies, we try to convince ourselves that we believe the lies, and that makes us more ragey.
Yes.
That makes us not only resent the person that's pissing us off, but it makes us resent ourselves because we're supposed to love ourselves and we're just ignoring what we need and
Yeah,
blowing ourselves off, and then we expect to still function
right.
and produce in the world. It's a hard balance.
Yeah. My disassociating was more along the lines of I had to look a certain way. I had such a solid persona. Like the youngest of age, the programming I got was I found my self-worth in the way that I looked. And because someone made a comment with the way that I looked, and then I just grabbed hold of that, that's the reason I modeled. That's the reason I lived in LA. That's the reason, California is all where I lived. It was all about what
So
you
bad.
look like and stuff. And
Yeah.
so for me, now growing older and looking in the mirror, having to let that ego die and just being like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. My body's not the same. My hormones aren't the same, all that kind of stuff. It's just weird and stuff, but it's still a matter of it's an exercise of just being like, I just love myself. I'm going to look in the mirror,
Yeah.
look at myself and just find a way to love myself without somebody else telling me they love me. It's such a great exercise and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just
No.
I want to touch on two more things and then I'm pretty much my list is done.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That sounds great. What do you want to talk about next?
What I would like to talk about next is, I wanted to go back to what I wanted to address was when you are like our thoughts about ourselves and that stuff coming up and stuff like that, and how you can recognize when it's yours or when it's somebody else's and you've just taken on
Oh,
somebody else's energy. I am definitely sensitive to even going into certain stores, and I'm just like, I have to take a moment to just put on my armor, my energetic armor, my bubble up. I call it my bubbling up and that sort of thing because I can stand in line at check out of somewhere and I can feel the person behind me, what's going on and that sort of thing. So what I tend to do also, and I showed somebody this and this was really cool, life altering for them. They said was snapping, clearing your energy. I do it at night and stuff like that because what you take in visually, so you can clear the energy of your eyes, and then also what you take in auditorially and stuff like that, like what you've heard or snippets or whatever it is, and you can clear that. You can clear under your feet, lift your foot up and clear under your foot and clear that, wipe, all this kind of stuff, kind of wiping off. And then it just starts helping you navigate what is yours and are you absorbing or what did you just absorb. And then the other thing that I love to do, which is something that has been just one of the best things I've learned for myself, is with, again, the planetary alignments and all this wild shifting stuff happening with these emotions that are coming up. When you stuff them down, you start getting back issues, right? Because back is past. When you stuff them down and you feel it in sacral, that's all about feeling safety. Your sacral is your sacral is your safety. And also when you have, anything that the root and that sort of thing is blocked and that sort of thing, that is also then how hard it is to connect to the earth, connect to, the root of the earth and stuff and keep yourself grounded. And so what I do is, and this seems to sometimes happen usually in the car, I'll be driving along and all of a sudden just this wave of like fear of I'm not safe or something old stuff and that sort of thing. And I'll be like, okay, I definitely can tell this is planetary. What I do and what they say that scientifically, if you give yourself 90 seconds to just allow that feeling, like the worst, like and I were talking the other day, worst case scenario, allow that worst case scenario. Because so many people are like, no, 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 it's push it down, push it down, push it down. And you're doing that. And it's then sitting in your back, it's sitting in an organ, it's sitting somewhere. Versus I'm just going to sit here and let that emotion really come up. And it is kick you in the butt, can be, because that's what it's been for me lately. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to time it. And for 90 seconds, I'm just going to allow this to happen. And sure enough, if I allow it, then it's amazing how it, whoo, and it goes away. And then if it happens again, it's much lighter. And then I notice I'm not getting those repeating thoughts, or that doesn't trigger me anymore.
yeah.
And when I see that, that doesn't even faze me anymore. Or that person said something. Oh my gosh, that doesn't even bother me anymore. I didn't even remember that I used to have a reaction to it and stuff. So
Yeah. Because anxiety is about running away from something, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
if you sit in it and
Mm-hmm.
not run from it,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
gonna probably escalate a little bit, but then it'll dissipate if you just keep if you
Yeah.
keep with it and like, okay, what? And then what? And then what?
Yeah.
And then what?
Right. And breathe.
And
Remember to
then what?
breathe.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you create solutions,
Yeah. What's a worst case scenario?
right?
Let me see that. Right.
And then
Exactly.
it's not so scary.
Right. Let me dig. Okay. And then what? And then you dig. And then, oh, wow, but then the key would also be like those deep breaths as well, because that's going to help oxygenate and cleanse as well and release stuff too. So people, so many times when they get scared or anxious or anything like that, we start to hold our breath. I start to clench my jaw and I do this and that sort of thing, or my lips disappear and stuff. And so I'm like, nope, not doing that. Just gonna worst case scenario, let me go. And like you said, and then what? And then what? And
And then
then,
what?
I just
Right. Right.
breathe,
That helps
breathe.
me a lot. Just saying, okay, I get a scary thought. And then what? Okay, what would I do to solve that little piece of problem, and then what? And if you start to like think of a solution, it is less scary and has less power, than if you were to just let the fear just take over your entire body.
Right.
That's always an option too, but I wouldn't recommend that.
Right.
We're
Well,
talking about tools to like decompress, right?
right.
To have your power back for women to feel stronger and in their own
Yeah.
space, love their bodies where they're at, and be
Right.
able to control scenarios
Right. So, and the
better
other,
than they are currently, right?
right, absolutely. And the other thing that happens then as well is if you allow yourself to just allow the feelings to come up, the emotions to come up versus let me now problem solve. Let me now problem solve. Like rather than going down the rabbit hole would be, I'm going down the rabbit hole, but I'm just going to let this fear come up. And the moment I start attaching it to what it used to be, why I'm fearful, let me figure out why I'm afraid, da da da. Instead, I just go, no, I'm just letting the fear come up. I'm just going to breathe through the fear rather than, like I said, attaching the story to it. Because then you're still kind of going up into your mind and you're figuring it out, and that still can create anxiety versus I don't know what this is attached to, and the moment I start trying to attach it to something, to some could be very very truly a false narrative, right?
Usually,
Rather
yes.
than, yeah, exactly. And rather than trying to attach it to something, I'm just going to, whoo, I'm having a really scary feeling right now. I'm just letting some fear come up and then, like I said, 90 seconds of that. Just feel your feels, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Feel your feels, ladies. Feel your
Yes.
feels.
And
Allow
rest.
yourself to
Yeah.
feel the feels. Don't be shameful or guilt around feeling the feels.
Yeah.
We are
And
powerful beings
mhm.
when we're allowed to keep our power and use it the way we want.
Yeah. Yeah. When we
And
really
not
feel
let
that power too.
external stimuli take our power, make us feel like we don't deserve to have power.
Oh, that's the biggest brainwash there.
Right? Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. Like we're supposed to stay small. That's how it was in my marriage. I was kept in this small little
Mm,
compartment of you are only so capable without me.
mm,
You know, you
yeah.
can't do this and this long list of you can't do this without me
Mm,
here. But the
yeah.
truth of the matter was he took my power, and I am
Mm.
capable of a heck of a lot more than I was brainwashed into thinking I was capable of without him.
Did he take it or did you give it away?
He
Like
took
the
it.
empowered, what I always go to is if
Oh,
this
I
is
fought.
happening for me,
Hmm.
then nobody can make me feel or not feel or whatever it is. It's my choice to have that feeling or to just and get butt hurt or just be like, I'm over it, you know?
I fought for my feelings to stay true and valid.
Mm, mm,
They were just unvalidated by
yeah, yeah,
my partner. And
yeah.
after 17 years of that,
Mm,
you know,
you
you
do
kind of
shred it.
numb out, right? You're
Yeah,
like, ugh,
yeah,
I just
yeah,
got to raise my kids for a little while longer,
yeah.
you know? You numb out.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Because you just got to survive and do life the best you can and fake your way through it until you have an escape route planned.
See, and then you would have been great to have a like a foam bat and you just beat him while he's standing up. Take your rage off.
I had fantasies about beating him with real objects. Yes, yes.
So you don't need an inanimate
Yeah.
object. You would have had a perfect specimen to beat.
After my divorce was final, I went to the rage room downtown and
Oh,
smashed printers
man, yeah.
and glass and ceramic and metal objects. You hit them with baseball bats and golf clubs and
Yeah. Yep.
sledgehammers. It's called the rage room. It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Beautiful.
And I took the kids there because they were pissed about divorce too, you know?
Yeah.
And we raged and we hit things and we listened to heavy metal music. And then we went out for Dairy Queen afterwards and we felt great.
That's awesome. We did the same thing. I thought it'd be so therapeutic for Brody just to like, let's open up some things because he was always like worried about me and taking care of me. He chose Christmas songs, Christmas happy songs. And he was just walking around going, ding, ding. Meanwhile, I'm in the corner like, like beating they had this rubber a blue rubber tub and I beat the bejesus out of that was amazing. Meanwhile he's just like smashing a little dish and dancing around to Christmas songs and smashing a little dish. We just did it again this Christmas. It was his Christmas gift and stuff, and I was over there and I'm just ding breaking things and all this kind of stuff, and he's living with his dad now, so he's got so he's got a lot more anger than I do. It was great. A little role reversal there.
He's young and tall, he can handle it for a while longer.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, it's a magical. So yeah, don't feel like you got to hold it all in, ladies. Just find a healthy
an outlet, right?
legal way to
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, find legal ways to release. Look up if you have a local rage room near you.
Yeah.
Well, it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Or get that Nerf bat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Or
Nerf bat.
Don't forget the damn it doll.
Go and beat on some things and let it out. Scream and yell.
Yeah, so true. It's so lovely.
It does help.
Mm-hmm.
For me, though, it like builds back up and I gotta do it.
Yeah. Maybe you just gotta do it more
over and over again.
Yeah.
On the reg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love you so much. I am so happy that you are here today with me and we got to talk about some cool stuff for women and giving them some tools to feel more empowered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to embrace it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned for the next one. Take care. Thank you for staying on, everybody. Appreciate you spending the time. Go ahead and subscribe and sponsor below. Each small donation helps me bring on more guests and keep everything moving forward on this podcast. Below, there are links to my website, links to my guests' websites and information. There's also a link to Amazon to get a copy of The Spirited Life, my inspirational